This is my third week doing this. It's been a great run. I've got to interact with a lot of new people that I've never met. So I'm very excited to meet new people and kind of hear what they got going on and, take whatever questions they have. I see a couple of return people. I see a couple of new people. So I really would just love to interact with everybody. I'm really here for you guys to just talk through anything going through your head, thoughts, questions, where we are in the industry right now. As most people know, streaming is down about 20%, and that's mainly for hip hop. Like other genres like R&B aren't down as much. Like they're down 5%. Other genres are up. You see gospel had a rise. Of course, you see kids music had a rise because everybody's at home with their kids. So that's up about 15%. Things you probably would imagine like kids, bops, and whatever. Our streaming platforms are up when it comes to like Netflix and Hulu, because many people are taking this time to just relax and chill, and they're watching a lot of shows. But that also translates to music with YouTube. YouTube streaming is up significantly. And so this is a great time for people to be taking advantage of YouTube, putting out their content. A lot of people are starting to learn that YouTube isn't just for music videos, it's for all forms of content. So, with our artists, we're encouraging the same stuff you will put up on like Instagram or any other platform, put it up on your YouTube as well. Those kids are sitting there watching it, and it's actually making you money versus Instagram, where it's not necessarily making you direct income. So just things of that nature that are going on in the industry right now. And so, yeah, I'm here. Anybody want to jump in? Anybody want to introduce themselves? Any thoughts initially? Just let's hear it. Please feel free to go ahead and speak up.
Okay, I wasn't mute. How you doing, everybody? What's up, J.R?
What's going on?
Salutations, King.
Yeah.
Jack Dill from New York City, based out of New York City. Do media marketing consultant and also management. Manage SNS and currently consultant Olivia.
Yeah.
On that new record, yeah.
That's dope.
Doing media, so I've been able to procure interviews on some top radio stations in different markets.
Yeah, I've been seeing like damn near every artist doing the IG live interviews with the radio stations. And so that's been going on a lot since the pandemic. Are you?
Yeah, I had to do a couple of call-ins in IG, and probably persuaded to go more IG. So I guess a lot of these radio stations want to start to get more looks on the Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's easier than driving to the station and pulling up. So I think we might see a lot more of that even after the pandemic is over.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And most of the radio DJs and the PDs and MDs, they are older. You know what I mean? They are like 40 plus. So this is kind of pulling them into, it's forcing them to learn social media.
Yeah, because I was trying to how you say I've been trying to get everything online in terms of the IG. Some of them didn't know, like they're like, yo, look, especially like markets like North Carolina. Yeah. And they're like, oh, look, we just doing this right now. I'm trying to get the hang of it.
Right.
So they didn't know about the pins, like to put pin her single, things like that. So
it's something to learn. So I mean, this definitely isn't a curse. This is for sure a blessing. Like the industry is going to be better because of this. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm excited for like the innovation that is coming. Even for labels, their costs are way down. You know what I mean? So now I'm pretty sure whether we come back this year or whenever we do come back, a lot of these things are going to stay in place. They're not going to go back to the way that they used to do things.
Right.
So this is definitely, kind of upgrading everybody's lives. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. And I see Josh. Definitely, I would love for you to introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, for sure. How y'all doing tonight, man?
Good.
All right.
Yeah, so my name is Josh Alexander. The people I work with, they call me Xander. I was formerly an artist, but I'm a composer and producer, a creative director of a production company called Nextus Productions. Primarily, I'm a creative consultant with artists, just kind of helping them with composition, finishing songwriting, things of that nature.
No, that's so. I don't know if I ever really met too many people like that's like the old school, like what's like the Barry Gordy's, the old
Exactly.
stars. That's basically what they were doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They were composing these records. They might not have been physically producing them or physically writing them, but they were for sure composing them and turning them into hits. Diddy, for example, is another
Right.
good example of something like that. So no, okay, that's dope, man. So where you based out of?
I'm in Atlanta, man, born and raised.
Okay, I'm in Atlanta as well. I'm in
What's
Atlanta
up?
as well, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, dope. And I see another new face. I don't want to mess up your name, but is it Berlina? I really, I probably messed that up. But if you want to speak up real quick, introduce yourself. I don't know. I hope I didn't mess up their name. Well, I'm gonna jump in then. So, Josh, did you have any questions or anything on your mind?
Well, I got a couple things on my mind. So, and one of them I want to kind of save for the end, but I've been missing the Zoom meetings, and just kind of chiming in on the YouTube, kind of catching up on the content there, and kind of looking at just the approach to music management, because the primary artist I work with, this guy in Australia named Tuesday. He's based in Melbourne, Australia. He we put out some music, and we're kind of just working on a flow and figuring things out. You know what I'm saying? The difficult part is he considers me sort of his manager, right? And I know I know the roles of a manager, and I want to be on the creative side, but I know Jack has kind of talked about this before, especially with him managing Olivia and stuff. So what are some things you'd say are good for managers to kind of get on top of right now while things are closed? Because I was looking into really trying to start leveraging some of his stuff into syncs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to get some of those placements. But is it mostly, should we just focus on just building up that fan base, or are there some other opportunities that I should be kind of trying to get for them?
Right. I feel you. I mean, honestly, in this moment, it's almost, the music is important, but if you're talking about strictly from a making money standpoint, it would be more about building a brand. Because that's probably the best way to get funds right now is pulling in money from these brands to like put whatever they have on your page. It's so many ways that the brands are kind of intertwining. They're paying you for TikToks. Like Jason Derulo is a great example. He's an artist, yes, but now he's getting a lot of income on his TikTok. I think he has like 12 million followers. Just because he jumped on that trend early. He jumped on that trend back when it was Musically, which was maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It just turned into TikTok, maybe 18 months ago. So I mean, if you're managing the act, the music is important, but I think your overall goal is to make money. I'm guessing they're making music to make money. I don't know. They could just totally be in love with music, which is totally fine too. But they still have to survive in the interim. So
Right.
I think building a brand is probably my number one goal as a manager. I'm trying to just figure out different ways to build this following. I was just on a phone with one of the artists that I managed earlier today, and I was telling him, I understand you're a musician, but you're still more than that. Like, all of your content doesn't have to be about music. You know what I mean? There are other things you have on your mind. There are other ways to express your creativity. And so I was just trying to get him to understand that building a brand is far more valuable than just the artist side of it. Now, that doesn't take away from the artist side, but the brand is everything right now. There are people like B Simone. I don't know if you know who that is, but she's a very strong brand. She may have like 3 million followers, but she's leveraged her brand and she's selling millions of dollars worth of product off of her brand. You know what I mean? Like Rihanna. Why we can't get Rihanna to return to music? Because she
She's
learned how
making
to
so much
leverage
money
her
everywhere else.
brand. Yeah, she learned how to leverage her brand, and so I guess everybody doesn't think from the money standpoint, and I understand that, especially with music, because it's art, and I respect the art. But once you learn how to leverage your brand and you start seeing that income from that, you'll think much less about music and more about how can I keep this brand growing. So I would just try to build some sort of brand presence for this artist. That would be my big goal during these times, because now they'll have more time than ever to create content because they can't leave the house. Um, and so this is a no excuse moment right here. You have no more excuses. All you have is time. So if they can't generate content right now, then the entertain because it's not just music, it's entertainment. The entertainment field may not be something that they really really are interested in. But let me ask you, just to be more specific, do you feel like this artist cares solely and only about music? Because there are artists like that, and you have to respect that, and you try to build around that. But what do you think this artist is going after?
I don't think he does anymore, man. We probably started working together about 3 years ago. It's easy to keep up because his birthday is New Year's. So It's been about 3 years, just over 3 years. And early on, he was like, yeah, it's just music. But I've kind of tried to engender into him, like, look, you might not need to go, multi-million instantly, but at least you want to make sure that you're able to sustain a living off of musical things, whether that's recording demos, whether that's live performances, whether that's sync royalties or just licensing fees or whatever. So he's coming around for sure.
Right.
With the brand stuff, what do you think is a good point to start trying to create those decks and approach other brands? And do you start with like kind of local smaller brands, or do you kind of go just hit?
No. You definitely can start with local, or you can go large. But I think it's all dependent upon the analytics that you're able to show them. It's really dependent upon that. So I'll give you an example. Like, our marketing is mainly centered around influencers at this point, and I'm talking about from a music standpoint. Like, when we're building a digital marketing plan for artists, a lot of the money is being funneled into TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers. And so what I tell my artists is, instead of us having to go out and pay these influencers, why don't you take the time and build your content and become your own influencers and put your songs behind the content you're making and drive your own streams? That'll save yourself a lot of money. And then on top of that, not only will you be able to promote yourself, you'll be able to promote these other brands, and they'll start paying you to promote their things. And so you're making money twofold. You know what I mean? But a direct answer is looking at the analytics, like being able to show them, hey, this is the amount of traffic that I'm driving to my page. Would you be interested in promoting your brand through me? And it really is that simple. I had an artist on the first week who kind of broke it down really, really good. And, he said he'll message 10 different people, and 2 of them will respond. They'll send him the stuff. And then, he might make a couple grand per post. And that's how he's been making money. Because, no offense to him, but the music hasn't got to where it needs to be, but his brand has. And so he's able to feed himself and, his household off of the brand versus waiting around for the music. So that's definitely what I would try to focus on, is try to build the brand so you guys can start making income.
Okay, for sure. Appreciate that, man.
No doubt.
Yeah. Now I just want to correct. Just want to make sure I want to be heard clearly. I don't manage Olivia. I do like media and marketing consulting for her. I'm a media.
Oh, word. My bad, man.
No problem.
No, so I mean, we got a good amount of new people in here. Again, I'll just backtrack. The main goal of this is just to kind of get into conversations, any questions people might have towards me and my background and my expertise, or just general questions that maybe the community can help answer. Please feel free to speak up. I see who is it? Damn, I hate mispronouncing people's name. Dimitri I see him. I see how you say it? G's 216. Is that how you say it? It's on mute. It's on mute. Let me take you off mute. What's going on, bro? How you say your name?
Oh no, I just put anything in, man. My name's Jelante though, bro.
Jelante, bro. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, for sure. Nice to meet you too, brother.
Yeah. So any thoughts, questions that you might have? I mean, that's what we're here for.
You know what? I just joined, man. So basically, my story is I got a son that do music.
Okay.
So I'm just helping, trying to steer him the right way as far as management, so I can get him in the hands of somebody who can do more than I can do for him.
Got you.
I'm just trying to get as much information as I can, and, you know, connect with like-minded individuals.
No doubt, man. Thank you for joining in. How's your son?
He 24. He just turned 24.
Where is he recording at?
In Cleveland. He be messing with a dude named Peter, artist for the most part.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this for new artists. The main thing is you have to understand it's a marathon. And so you want to try to keep all your costs to like an absolute minimum. So like when it comes to recording costs, you want to build your own studio and be able to record yourself and be able to just learn. Like everything takes practice. So you learn how to mix your vocals yourself. Connect with another artist in the city that's willing to let you come see their home studio and show you how to, you know what I mean, record and get your stuff straight. And then from there, it's just connecting with other people who are building like you. So like it might be somebody, you might have a homeboy around the way who want to be a videographer or want to shoot music videos, and y'all connect. And that way you're not paying for your music videos. Same with a producer. You're making your own beats. Connect with a producer around the way that want to produce, and now you're not paying for your beats. And you build this team system. A great example is the baby. The baby whole team was kind of built around him. Like he found all these people to do all these things. He has his own videographer, camera crew. He has his own producers that are now, you know, making a lot of money because they all came up together. Those producers are making 30 grand a beat. His videographer team are shooting videos for 50 grand a video. But it all started 7 years ago, you know what I mean, when they were in Charlotte, North Carolina, wasn't getting paid for no beats, wasn't you know what I mean, wasn't getting paid to shoot no videos. They just grew their team. And so I think the biggest thing that you should instill in your son is that this is going to be a marathon. So just try to build a team versus going out there and trying to find the biggest producer or going out there and trying to find a hot videographer in the city. Build his own presence, man, because all these costs, they add up very fast. Very fast. So that would be my initial thing to him, is just like, listen, let's everything that you believe you need, let's look at it, let's write it down, and let's figure out how to find this within our own community versus going out there and trying to spend money on it. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a long road ahead of him, and he got to preserve all those funds for when he does actually need them. So right now it's just about building that organic team around him. And them having their similar vision and putting their heads together and being as creative as possible. So that's for sure what I would try to instill in him right now as he starts.
Oh, for sure. Good looking, bro.
No doubt. Who else we got in here? Destiny, I see you back in here. What's going on? Tell me some of your thoughts. How's your week go?
Hello? Can you
Hey, okay, there you go.
Sorry, I was talking. Sorry, I literally just got out the shower from washing my hair. But yes, Jack, it's me. Hi.
Oh, what's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, you know, I be moving.
Exactly. I see you every single day. So, congrats on that. But yeah, so I was here last week. So for everyone else, I'm an A&R intern at an indie label here in New York City, and I also do digital marketing, freelance and stuff like that. And this week, I guess my question for right now is just about you, J.R. Like I think I missed the first week, so I didn't really get to hear you talk a lot about your journey and what and head of sales at Alamo with working with DSPs. That kind of sounds like what I want to do. So I definitely want to hear more about that.
Well, let me ask you a question then, Destiny. You said that analytics equals leverage, which is the main ideal of branding. Can you expand on that?
Oh, I don't know nothing about that, but like, you know, I just hear this conversation come up a lot, you know? So that's just really what it is, you know?
No doubt. So I'll expand on it. Yeah. I mean, basically, when you're talking about a brand, the main thing, like for instance, I manage the artist Jacob Lattimore, and we send out his brand deck to the different brands, and only thing that's on the brand deck is analytics. There's a resume on there, but the main thing that they care about is his analytics. They care about how many impressions a tweet get, you know, how many click throughs his swipe ups get, and that's how we sell him as a brand. And so every single platform you has back-end analytics. That's from the Spotify for artists, Apple for artists, Instagram, Facebook. They all have Twitter, all have back-end analytics. And so you want to pay close attention to those and be able to pull that data. And I say it again, it's really as simple as reaching out. Everybody isn't going to respond, but most will. Most will respond. And you got to find, obviously, the brands that match your artist. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if your artist doesn't smoke, you want to reach out to a tobacco company. You know what I mean? But if your artist does smoke, there are tons of companies out there that would love to get posted on your artist page for $1,000. You know what I mean? And you do one of those posts a week, and now you got $4,000 income. You know what I mean? And your artist might not be streaming as well, but they have that brand power. And the streaming, if they are streaming well, then that just means raise your price. You know what I mean? Like, your analytics will show that. So when you're talking about a brand, the brand is only as powerful as your engagement, which is your analytics. And so when somebody says you need to build your brand, that just means you need to build your engagement. And so that's really what that comes down to. Let's see. I got my good friend Dre Davis on here. I don't know if he wants to speak, but it's a great friend of mine. He's helped me a lot in this industry. I think he run a label out of Chicago right now, Dre, if I'm not mistaken. If you want to get on here and speak real quick. See if we can.
What's up, J.R.? How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you for hopping on here.
No, listen, I'm a student right now. You know what I mean? Because, you know, my expertise is more touring, and everybody on that's listening, this guy is amazing. He said that I helped him. He's helped me. So we just started a record label, and it's actually going to be based out of. We're thinking about having it based out of Atlanta.
Okay.
So some of the things, you know, in dealing with building a record label and putting an artist out, I don't know anything about. So this has been very helpful from beginning to end. So I'm just here as a student to learn the other side of the business, to kind of understand, you know, what the DSPs mean and what a digital marketing person does and all of these things. So, you know, right now we're at the phase of, we have hired a digital marketing person. We have hired a creative director. And like JR says, the money is moving really, really fast. So it's kind of like, you remember that call that we talked about when I called you for that, you know, it's, the money is there, but it's just kind of like, you can have the money, but if you don't have, you can have the money and the music.
Right places.
Yeah, but if you don't know what you're freaking doing, you're just spinning your wheels. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to learn. And everybody that's here, I wish you all well in your endeavors. You're with an amazing person who can really teach you. So that's why I'm here, bro.
No doubt. Thank you. So with that, I will talk about digital marketing for a second. I work very close with a lot of the top digital marketers in the game. Because, you know, my generation, digital, but when I first started music, digital marketing almost really didn't exist. And now it's become the main source of marketing, because a lot of the street marketing is gone, especially in the pandemic, where now even the club aspect is gone, because that used to be a real important piece to breaking records. But now even with the club aspect being gone, it's just like totally down to digital marketing. The press aspect is gone, because now all press is digital. There's no more going to New York for a press run or going to LA for a press run. At the moment, of course, this could change, but at the moment, that's all done. So it's all digital right now. And honestly, the main drivers in digital marketing right now are TikTok, because it gives you the greatest return. It's the only platform that is proven to turn into streams. And so everybody in the digital marketing space is trying to figure out how to get in touch with these influencers. They're either going through an agency or they're taking the tedious time to DM every influencer, or they're going through a digital marketing person, which is the route I would recommend, is linking up with a digital marketing person. The music industry is all about networking. So you have to be able to go out there and find that person. And the easiest route to do so is just, everything is, what do they call it? 6 degrees of separation. Find somebody that's an artist that's at a major, and you can ask their manager, hey, who are y'all using? Or talk to the artist directly. Just find somebody that's in the industry that you can ask them, how can I get in touch with your digital marketer? I have a budget. But that's the route I would go. I would go with a digital marketer because these are the people who are doing this every single day. They're looking at the different routes. They're funneling so many different budgets, so they know what's working and what's not working. But again, right now, I'm doing a campaign. We're doing majority of our money towards TikTok. Twitter has become very good because it's underserved. Like, a lot of people aren't really tuned into Twitter, but Black Twitter is huge. Like, it moves the needle so well. And so now is a great time to market on Twitter. Instagram, as we all know, has kind of gone downhill. So we're not really tapping into the Instagram influencers anymore, but we are doing Instagram ads, Facebook Instagram ads, which is basically just, taking your piece of content and running the ads so that it'll come up on your swipe up, or it'll come up sponsored on your feed. Those are good, but we're not really doing the influencers anymore because honestly, you get way more bang for your buck on TikTok. I'm trying to think of everything that we're doing that you guys might need to know. But again, these are things that I wouldn't go out personally and try to do myself. I will hire somebody and I would give them my budget and I will let them know, what our goal is, and then let them take it from there. Like I said, there are agencies out there for this, but I'm not a fan of going through an agency. I'm a fan of dealing direct with a digital marketer. And most of the major label digital marketers will do work on the side. And so these are the people that I like to hire, people who are actually doing it at the highest level. To give you a few, well, I won't give you their names, but there are people at every major label who are willing to work on the side for to do digital marketing. And then to answer your other question, Dre, about DSPs. DSPs are phenomenal because they're the marketplace. You know what I mean? They are where people go to get their music. And so if you're tapped into that marketplace, which is mainly your major labels or your distribution companies, I'm a great advocate for distribution companies because you get paid every month. They take a small percentage and they give you all the label services necessary right now because there are only two. There's DSPs and digital marketing, and most distribution companies have that. Major labels have that as well, obviously, but all of the other things that they had are pretty much null and void now. But Dre, when you're talking about your new artists, it's really more important to build them and worry less about DSPs right now because they're only going to really service things that are moving. It's very hard to get a new artist on a playlist or get any sort of marketing for a new artist. So when we're talking new artists, I never like to bring DSPs into play because it just sets up false expectations. Because they're not really gonna move for a new artist unless this artist has some sort of movement going on their own. I'll give an example. We signed a new artist out of, when I say we, I mean Alamo, signed a new artist out of Charlotte maybe a month ago. His record had about 250,000 TikTok creates on it. And TikTok moves Spotify the most, like by far, because TikTok is an international platform and Spotify is the largest international platform. And so when you have something that breaks on TikTok, it's going to move Spotify the most. And so he went from doing, let's just say, under 1,000 streams to over 100,000 streams daily from TikTok. And he didn't do this with any sort of campaign or anything. This was just organic growth. Some people made some TikToks to his song. More people made it, and it snowballed into a thing. And that's why I encourage people to do content, because you literally never know which piece of content is going to change your life. You know what I mean? This kid made a piece of content. Other people's copied him. He didn't spend any money on this. And, you know, within 60 days, you know, he got his record deal. And now, you know, I'm working the record. I started on a record last week. We got him on Internet People, the Spotify playlist. I got him to cover Internet People. And we got the record #1 on Internet People right now. We got him on Apple Hot Tracks and Apple The Plug. So we're moving on it pretty quickly. But again, if it was just a brand new artist, me sending this to Apple and me sending this to Spotify, it wouldn't do anything because they don't have some sort of movement. But because this kid, you know, had grown so significantly in less than a month, I was able to go in and make those plug and plays. But yeah, so I don't want to go too far. Anybody else have some questions or any thoughts, you know, definitely hop in and I can respond to that for you.
No, I hope I'm not being taking too much time, but I just have one question on what you were just saying.
Okay.
So the importance, though, like what you just said, that you have to build the artist up first. So my dilemma is that my client was already an artist, already a hit songwriter. So the music is phenomenal. So question is, you know, if I don't have a distributor to put it up on the DSPs for me, because what I wouldn't want to happen is that, okay, people hear the song and then they go to Shazam and it doesn't pop up, or they say, dang, I really like this song, I can't get it. You know what I'm saying? What do I do in that?
Where would they hear the song at, though?
Say it again.
I said, where would they hear the song at? You said if people hear the song, where would they hear it at?
That's the thing. If we shot if we shot a video and just put it up on YouTube and blasted it out, you know, if it was put on SoundCloud or whatever, just put up for people to hear. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think in your situation, there's a very similar situation with the girl Victoria Monet. Are you familiar with her? She was a huge songwriter.
Absolutely.
And now she's putting out her own material now.
She's with Atlantic? She used to be with Atlantic, right?
No, well, I don't know who she used to be with. Maybe she might have. I don't know. But now she's with God, I wish I could tell you the name of it, but it's Trade Secrets. Apple Music has its own distribution company, very similar to Troy Parker's. I don't even know. I just said it. Troy Carter's. Very similar to Troy Carter's label that's on Spotify. I wish I can tell you guys the name of it. But Apple Music has a distribution company, and Victoria Monet is signed to that company, and she is getting every Apple Music look there is. But it's also because she has that strong background. And so, Dre, in your situation with such a strong background, I would try to go with a distribution company like Troy Carter's distribution company, Human Resources, to kind of combat that. You can be what she is to Apple. You can be the Spotify version of that.
So let me tell you, we have a deal on the table with Human Resources.
Yeah.
But COVID-19 has put a pause and delay on the deal because of, you know, you can't get in front of people to promote her. You know what I'm saying? We can't, you know, the climate can't shoot music videos, you know, so even though we feel like we can. So it's just kind of put on pause right now. But what I'll do is I'll call you offline. I'll have a much deeper conversation with you. But yeah, that's kind of, you hit it right on the head. That was already done. They believe that they heard the records and it was like, this is a no-brainer. Then we just took time to kind of get our ducks in a row. So that's why those features were important, because I felt like if we had to feature with the artist, you know, it'll be easier to go on the DSPs and give people something to talk about.
So I will tell you that features do play a strong part in playlisting. And so features are always great to have. But also on the flip side of that, if the feature isn't engaging with the record, it won't matter to the general public. So it may help at DSPs, it may not, but in my experience, a big feature does help with playlisting, especially if you get primary artists. And to explain what primary artist means, it's something that Spotify, because it mainly only works on Spotify. Spotify came up with. So if you guys look on Spotify and you look up an artist and it shows their monthly listeners, every artist, it'll say it has this many monthly listeners. So Spotify has what's called release radar. And so when you put a record out, it'll show up to those monthly listeners when they open Spotify. Is maybe the third little row down. It'll say your release radar, and I'll say, hey, these new songs have come out. So what primary artist means is if I have primary artists on this feature, let's say Gucci Mane, it'll show up to all of those monthly listeners of Gucci Mane's, and it'll say, hey, this new record is out. And so that's what primary artist means. So I say that to say if you get a feature and you're able to get primary artists, that'll be amazing. But if you don't get that and you just got the feature and they're not promoting it on their social media, it does very little to help. And so I always caution people when they're going after features to work with people close to your level. Never go too far out of your level. You know what I mean? If you're an artist that's only streaming 1 million a month, don't go get an artist that's streaming 100 million a month. Don't go pay them 40,000 for this feature because they're not going to support you, most likely unless you had that written in the contract, and then they still may not support you. But they're not really going to support you the way an artist who has 5 million streams a month, because they care. And so they're going to support you and they're going to pull you up to where they're at. And then you go to the next level and you just build like that. So never try to jump way too far ahead. Stay close to your level, and build versus trying to go get the biggest artists in the world and get no sweat. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience because I literally went and got Gucci Mane on the song. So I'm not just talking about him, but those large artists, like, always stay close to your level. You know what I mean? And then build from there, build up. But yeah, with the feature thing, I think it'll be helpful at the DSPs, but you only are going to be talking to the DSPs if you're going through the right distribution company. You know what I mean? So I would definitely, Dre, on your end, I think human resources would be a great move for you, because I saw what they did with someone very similar at Apple, through Apple's company. So I think if y'all can replicate that with human resources, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
No problem. Anybody else? Definitely speak up.
Yep.
I'm here for you. Dave, what you got?
So my friend Dimitri is actually here with me. So
Okay.
It wasn't working on his computer, so I just had him, like, I'm sharing an iPad, and he had a question.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Nice to meet you, bro.
It's nice to meet you as well, sir. I do have a question. It might be off topic of what you guys are saying, but as an artist, how do you build your audience?
So the number one way, like, let's say you're an artist and you're starting from absolute scratch. You got your songs, you done recorded 10 songs, you're ready to put out your first one. When you're I think that artists sometimes forget that music is a product. So you have to treat it like a product. You have to test the product. If you don't just put out one song thinking this is it. Like, you need to put out multiple songs and see, what do people like from me? Oh, they like this type of record. Oh, they like it when I do this. And you're steadily gauging what people are engaging with. And then you learn to give them more of that. You know what I mean? So don't think, oh, I'm a new artist, I'm gonna put out, this is a record, this is the smash, and I'm out of here. Like, you have to be able to continue to put out product to see what product is getting responded well to. And to create more of that type of product. You know what I mean? So don't think of yourself as a business. That's definitely how you want to start and go about this thing. You want to think of yourself as a business. I hope that answers. But building the audience is consistency. That's the number one way, and promoting yourself. Like I always tell my new artists, you know, whoever's following you, whenever you do something, DM them that. You know what I mean? If they're following you, they have a slight interest. You know what I mean? So they're not most likely not going to ignore your DM. So DM them those songs. You got 500 followers, you know, over the next 2 days, make sure all 500 of those people get that record. And because you have to engage with the community that you have. You understand what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a small community, you need to engage with that community. And so that's the way that I like to begin to build something from scratch. Is I'm just making sure I have enough of the product to be able to test it, because everything is trial and error. Like, oh, I did this sad song and they loved it, or I did this sad song and nobody listened. So if they loved it, I'm saying, man, let me give them another one. If they didn't listen to it, okay, let me try this more upbeat song. You know what I mean? That did all right. Okay, let me try this trap record. Oh, they really fuck with the trap record. But I feel like I'm a lyricist, so let me put some lyrics on this trap record and just keep moving and critiquing it as you go along to build your sound. You know what I mean? Because even though you're an artist, quote unquote, you still have to be open to what the public wants to hear. You know what I mean? You still have to build that sound. And so that's what I would do. And that's how I would start, is I would just make sure I have enough product to be able to test out my sound and build my sound to what my immediate community wants to build. And then once I kind of feel like I got my legs, like, okay, I know what they messing with, and I'm just gonna keep giving them that and just keep trying to grow upon this thing. Any business is walking up a ladder or walking up steps. So you just want to keep outdoing yourself as much as you can. But number one way to grow is consistency. To answer your question.
You mind if I jump in as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
See if you agree or disagree. From my experience, also, there's probably two things. One thing also I feel artists should do, also work a record.
Mm-hmm.
Some artists don't take the time out to actually work a record.
Yeah.
And build up that buzz for the record. Unfortunately, some artists are so quick to jump in with another record. I can understand putting out records, but like work the record, because some people give up on records way too early.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a process, like having a strategic rollout for a record.
Yeah.
I believe that's something that needs to be put some more input into. Also, it actually depends on certain artists. Some artists are really put out, it's like a hobby. Some just put out records, just put out records. And so you got artists that want to build a career. So I would advise a big thing to have is a team, putting a team together. So, and that's a great point to what J.R. said, something I call cost-benefit analysis. So where instead of spending that money to go over to some festival in Texas or going to these other markets, maybe you could redirect that money, that budget, to building your team, getting a publicist. With that might help put your brand out even further, because that person may have the relationships to these other outlets that could give you a bigger audience, opposed to spending that money, you know, buying certain types of clothes, jewelry, so on and so forth. Right. Then another opinion I may have is also something like customer retention. In terms of building the audience, if somebody's giving you likes or giving you engagement on social media, or if you have certain friends in your phone book, is retaining those customers by creating a database.
Yeah.
Get everybody's emails. This way you could it's like creating a newsletter for prospective customers. So whenever you have a new record, you can send out an email or a blast to let everybody know you got new material out, and keep consistent with that. And this way you could build your customer base.
No, that's beautiful. That customer retention part. Email list is probably the best thing you can do. Obviously they have that app community now, but it's very hard to get in on that app. But that's a text base where they store all the phone numbers for you, and you can just automatically test all the phone numbers. But just finding some way. I even had an artist one time just actually get a phone, and on tour he had the number up so that people can text him. And he just kept that he just kept that base, and so he updated them every time something came out. But that's a beautiful point on a customer retention. Dre, is that you got the hand up? You got a question? I see
No,
that.
that was during the middle of your soliloquy earlier. So
Okay,
yeah, I have
okay,
my
no
hand up.
doubt. Well, let's
So,
so somebody wrote a question in the chat. I'm gonna read it real quick and try to answer it. It says manager producer that does a lot with local artists, sells beats, but is looking for the next step. Do you have any advice on? Well, as a manager, I mean, on your part, speaking to other managers of artists. So like, I mean, you can't go to a show right now, but one of the ways that I used to just try to connect with my peers, other managers, is at shows. Like, I really always try to pop out to these shows and stuff. Oh, you manage so and so, but dope, I manage so and so, and then we connect like that. And then I say, yo, I got a producer. I'm gonna sing some beats for your artist. So I mean, that's one way I used to do it. But with the producer, I mean, if he's already working with a lot of people locally, I would encourage him to continue that, because I mean, you don't know, those artists could blow up and they can have that synergy, and the same way again with the baby and the producers that he worked with. But from a manager standpoint, I would definitely say you should connect with a lot more of your peers in any way you know how, because obviously shows are down, but DMing them, artists tag their managers a lot. You know what I mean? My artists always tag me, so they tag their managers a lot. So if it's an artist you're looking to go after, I'm sure within this week they'll tag the manager about something and just hit their manager, and go through the manager, because they're much more receptive than obviously an artist. You know what I mean? These bigger artists are definitely not checking their email. I mean, their DMs for people they don't know, but their managers are. You know what I mean? Because the managers, probably only have 4,000 followers, 5,000 followers. So try to connect with more of your peers, and go that route versus trying to get to the artist himself. That's definitely how I would go after that.
So, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on, bro?
What's up, bro? What's up, everybody? My name is Ellis. J.R. met you a few times. I'm not sure if you remember me at all.
I remember your face for sure. When I saw you, I said, that dude look mad familiar. I said, I know him.
Yeah, we shot the that morning after video with DeMar.
Yeah.
And we did a whole bunch of other stuff together though. But I just had a few questions since we were on manager topics.
Go ahead.
Because you answered a question I had about building an audience. A lot of you guys did actually. But I had a question about how does an artist know when to find a manager, and just how to find a manager in general. And also, how does that artist and manager retain that relationship as far as making sure that the manager does everything they need to do to make that new artist feel like he's not left out. You know what I mean? Because like somebody like you, you're somebody who I follow a lot, whether it be us working together or just on the gram. I know you deal with a lot of people, but I do see that you are really engaged with every artist that, you know what I'm saying, you're working with. And I know that's kind of like a talent. It's not easy to do because you can lose track, especially when you're dealing with like upper echelon artists, like when you're dealing with artists who are somebody, you know what I mean? So how does an artist find a manager, and how does that artist make sure that they are, taken care of, especially if they're an artist producer?
Right. Well, the first question, how does an artist find a manager? Drake just put out that new project, and I don't know what song is on, but he was I'm gonna mess this up really bad. But the point he was making, he said something about you got your manager after the win. And so basically the point that he was making was, and he went on to say it, he was like, one of your friends is just as smart. He was like, why you ain't breaking bread with your friends? You know what I mean? So I think is building a team around yourself from the get-go. You do have wise and smart friends. I have a lot of friends who were doing a lot of illegal things, and I definitely push them to help them understand that if you can run that business, you can run any business. You know what I mean? Like, don't think what you're doing is not a business. You're running a business. So why not do that legally, and you'll get away from all of those other consequences, and you'll be a freer and happier man. But anyway, my first goal would be to try to find somebody around me that's smart and that can do this and that's willing to learn, because I mean obviously they'll have a lot to learn. But my second thing would be managers usually find the artists. So if they see you moving, they see you hustling, they're gonna reach out to you. You know what I mean? Same as labels. So if they like, damn, this kid got this going on. So really I would advise them to just work. You know what I mean? Do what you're supposed to be doing, continue to grind it out, and the manager will come to you. Or that friend that's next to you that you know is really smart. I mean, that's literally how I got into the business. I didn't know what a manager was or anything about it, but I was just my friends got a record deal, and I was the smartest person they knew, and so they literally just took me with them, and I helped. The whole time I was doing this initially, I didn't even know the term manager. I was just a friend that was helping with everything, and I was getting paid. You know
Was that the because I don't even know if you, I'm pretty sure you don't remember me from way back then. Was this the K Camp All Night around that time, or this was before that?
Way before that.
Okay,
I signed K Camp in 2013. I'm talking about 2005. 2005, I was with a group called Cadillac Dunn and J Money out of Mississippi. They had a big song, a nationwide song called Inside Peanut Butter, Outside Jelly. And they signed a record deal with Asylum Records. It was Ty Moskowitz and Joey IE signed them to Asylum Records. And that's literally who I did my K-Camp deal with Joey IE, and I took this position with Ty Moskowitz at Alamo. So I mean, they both have known me since I was a kid. I was 19 years old when that happened. So they both know me since I was a kid.
Relationships.
Yeah, exactly, relationships. And again, I didn't know what a manager was. I literally was just the smart friend that they had. And so they kept me along to try to help and handle any business I could to help with marketing. And that's what I did. And that was my intro to the music business. So yeah. So the two things, like I said, either that friend around you that you feel like is smart, they don't have to know the music business. You just feel like, yo, I believe in this person and that person believes in me. Or B, just keep doing what you're doing until the manager finds you. And I feel like it was the second part to your question, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it was basically just I was asking, how does an artist and manager rather, how does the artist make sure that the manager, stays on top of things? Because like I said, I know somebody like you, I know if somebody like you is in a position, not to say you do this, but I'm just saying, if somebody's in a position like you, I know it can get kind of confusing dealing with a whole bunch of artists. But like I said, I see that you stay engaged with, I see you work with DeMar. I see you pull up, if we shoot like a Lucci video, you'll just pop up. I see you, what I mean, on the gram with Dirk and stuff like that. So I just want to know, how does an artist make sure that they're taken care of? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, from an artist standpoint, I would hope that they're sort of driving the ship. As a manager and as a label exec, man, I really don't like to work with artists who aren't at least as hungry as I am. I like to tell artists that you're the CEO of your business. Like, as a manager, I'm more like the president. You know what I mean? You run this business. So if you're not excited about it, why would the president be excited about it? You know what I mean? You're the CEO. So if you're not the driving force, what the president's supposed to do? You know what I mean? So I like to explain it to artists like that. And it's really on them to drive the ship. It's their business. They're the CEO as the artist.
Okay, yeah, that helps a lot, man. Cause were you about to say something, Jack?
Oh yeah, now I was gonna chime in real quick. Cause
go ahead, man.
I deal with management. And JR hits everything on the money. A key thing too, from the artist and between the artist and the management, to pick the right person, communication. Somebody who knows how to communicate.
Yeah.
That's every aspect.
Oh man, that's big. And communicate and finding somebody that has a good business acumen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also somebody that's personable. I mean, I've met a lot of artists who managers ruin relationships for them. And I don't mean like making mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes. And so, you know what I mean? I mean like a person who's just not very well at working with other people, and not very well at, you know, maybe they have a temper, or maybe they don't know how to talk to someone, or maybe they have an ego problem. So you want to find somebody that's humble and is able to work well with other people, because they can ruin your business. You know, if they just aren't good at that, if they turn people off, basically. You know what I mean? So definitely make sure it's someone that's a likable person, and that doesn't easily turn people off. 'Cause
Okay.
that's definitely bad for business as you as an artist.
Yeah, just been something I've been dealing with a lot. Well, just racking my brain around, just because I got all this music, and I have all these ideas, but like I tell my homies, I'm like, bro, I gotta find a manager, because it's like I can have all these ideas, and
Yeah.
while I'm doing this music stuff in the crib, especially during this quarantine time, I'm like, there needs to be an appointed person that's out here making moves
Yeah.
while I'm just doing my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a kid. I gotta make sure I record. I gotta make sure I make these beats and stuff like that. So it needs to be somebody on the line. Like, look, we setting this up. Hitting my phone. Like, look, we got this going on. You know what I mean? And I got somebody, but you know, it's just hard to find somebody like that, especially when everybody has something going on. You know what I mean? If like a guy I got right now, he got 2 jobs, but he's like kind of dedicated. Like, he wants to work, but I'm like, bro, look, I know you want to do this stuff right now, but we can't even pop out. And he's kind of like, older. I mean, he's only like 30 something, but he's not too phone savvy. So he's not like, but now I'm just, but look though, but now check it out though. Look, check it out though. He got like an old soul. Like, you see him in his phone, he's like,
Oh,
yeah, I'm not about to get no iPhone, man. I ain't even, man, you know what? I'm good with this phone right here, man. I can see everything. You know what I mean? One of those. So I'm like, look, bro, we got to get on point as far as you DMing people saying, hey, check this out, getting the email list and stuff like that. So that was something I've been wanting to ask since like the first
I would
2-3
tell you
ones.
this, man. You know, again, an artist is a business, and when you're starting a new business, you have to play all the roles. And also, it helps you in the long run, because then when you place somebody in that role, you know what it takes to do that. And so you know when they're slipping, because you did it before. You've been your own manager before, so you know what it takes to be successful at that role. So when you start a business, you're starting one person and you're playing all roles. So I think that you should just try to cover as many fields as you possibly can and continue to grow. And when that person comes along, you'll know how to be a manager. So you'll know if they're not doing their job. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I would just, man, listen, just wear all the hats for now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Wear all the hats for now. And if somebody comes along, you'll be able to assess them much better because you wore that hat.
Okay, I appreciate that, man. You too, Jack.
I appreciate it. No problem.
No thing, man.
I was thinking I was in a I'm in a similar situation. Because I'm doing I'm working on the music stuff. Well, I'm more in a producer and I do like video game music, so it's a little bit different. But it's like I'm doing the producer stuff, like working on songs. That take like 6-12 hours to work on some pieces, and then it's like, all right, well, I gotta go make the post. Or I'm selling like sound effects and this other thing. That's a different thing, but I still gotta make posts for that, and I gotta produce a video for that. So I gotta go in the editor and do all this stuff, and that takes 6-12 hours. And then I'm like, all right, I gotta finish making a song for this other album that's about to come out with this other group, and so it's tricky.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're running in this space, it's never going to get easier. Like, you have to learn how to do all of these different things, and you have to learn how to schedule and maneuver your business. It's never going to get easier. If you become successful at it, it's still going to be just as difficult. It just probably will be less fun because now you have money. You know what I mean? So listen, like, all these things that you're saying, that's how it goes. Like, it's not going to get easier. You have to learn how to master what you're doing, all aspects of it. Because I promise you, once you become successful, you're still going to be doing the same things. Trust me, I've been there. several times now. Like it's the same process. It's just less fun because now you feel like you could be off doing something else with this money. You know what I mean? So you gotta be dedicated to the process, and you gotta really go after it if you really want it. So all of these things that you're speaking on, double down on them, man. Go harder on them. If you really want this to be a success.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Go ahead.
So I've been doing all of these webinars. I've been getting a lot of music, right?
Mhm.
So my question is like, how do you, like, an artist DM'd me the other day. He's like, can you get me a meeting at a record label, or can you do this? Like, how do you respond to artists who think that like you're supposed to move as soon as they send you something? Like, I have a whole life, you know. I'm gonna listen to your music, but it may not be right now, you know.
Right. I mean, first of all, I don't know that I've mastered that. I try to be as helpful as possible. I'm not much for listening to too many people's music, and unless it comes from a source that I feel like, you know what I mean, I don't want to let this person down, like a friend or someone from the label. But for the most part, if it's an artist or somebody that I don't really know, I'll either listen out of the kindness of my heart, or I just won't respond. I mean, you don't have an obligation to respond because somebody DMs you. So for me, either if I do listen, great. Otherwise I ignore. I really only feel obligated to listen to things if it comes from somebody that, I'm cool with. Then I'll try to get them the time, because at the end of the day, I feel like I'd rather give them this 5 minutes than not be a good friend. So that's kind of just how I feel. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. That's just how I feel. So I try to give people my time because I want to be a good friend to them. But if it's coming from somebody I just don't know, then either I don't respond or I listen if I had the time.
You had a question?
Yeah, I had a question, but it seems like you had more to say though. But
go ahead.
Now it just escaped from me.
Well,
hold on. To give some context about myself, I'm more of a graphic designer and a visual artist. But I want to understand something about people who do music. Yeah. What is, as a consumer, what are the things we don't see? The process, like what are things that we don't usually see from musicians or producers or just artists in general? Is there any way you can answer that?
I mean, coming from a graphic designer standpoint?
No, just coming from your standpoint.
Coming from a consumer, I mean, obviously, you don't see the process. You know what I mean? Yeah, you don't see the process. The same way you don't see the process it takes you to make that album cover. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what you went through to make the album cover. By the time you send it to us, you could have went through 10 different looks until you found the one that you wanted. You know what I'm saying? By the time I put this song out, I could have re-recorded this verse 10 times. I used to work with Saha the Prince. He's still a good friend of mine, but he literally used to record 3 verses for every verse, and then would sit there and determine which out of those 3 verses he likes the best. And like, it was just mind blowing to me how important it was to him, because I know artists that won't even add a second verse to their song. They think it's done after they put their first verse on it and they put it out. So I mean, everybody's different. You just don't know people's process. You only get finished products. So I mean, that's pretty, pretty much the case across the board. Like, you don't know how hard it was for me to build a label. You know what I mean? Like, you see a success and you see plaques, but I mean, my nigga, I'm 34. I started when I was 19. So you want to put 15 years into something? You know what I'm saying? Like, right? You just met me today, so now you see this is assumingly, because I guess you don't know me that much, but assumingly a successful person, but you don't know the whole 15-year struggle it took to be to today. You know what I mean? So that's with anything. And like I said, the same with your process. We don't know your process of graphic designing. You know what I mean? We don't know how many looks you go through before you get that final one.
A lot.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I've seen them work on stuff, and it's a lot.
I'm just saying, should your consumers really care about knowing what you do behind the scenes, or no?
Should they care? I mean, that's obviously each consumer's.
I would say like I want to act like I'm like some expert. But what I've been noticing, at least, for other fields, and so I would assume it's the music and graphics and stuff field too, and especially how popular like streams are. Like when I say streams, I mean like Twitch streams and all that stuff. Because I don't know if people are familiar. Like everybody know that people stream video games on Twitch. They stream Fortnite and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of streams where they stream creation stuff, and I think like people like they want to see the process. They don't want to see like the whole 6 to 12 hour version. They want to see like a nice little compressed version. Like, okay, here's what the software looked like. Here's kind of what I'm going. Here's what I'm doing, because what it does is it brings the person closer to like it brings a person closer to the artist to be like, wow, like, oh, they're having like some problems that like I'm gonna have. Oh, these are people too. They're not just like
they want to relate to you. They want to relate to you. I mean, right. When you're talking about artists, the way that you build a super fan is finding somebody that relates. And that's why I love music, because I tell all the artists, like, you believe it or not, whatever your story is, there are millions of people with that same story. Like, you don't have to rap about the trap if you're from the suburbs, because there are millions of people from the suburbs going through suburban struggles. You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever you are, there's enough people out there to make you a platinum artist. So rap about what you know and what you went through, because it's out there. It exists. You know what I mean? So I tell artists that all the time, but I think what my man might be asking about maybe is just attention span, and why are people moving on so fast from product? I don't know. You know what I mean? Is that what
that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, like, well, obviously the attention span is shorter because, you know, social media and things like Snapchat or what was before Snapchat? What was the seventh? Vine. Like
Vine.
50 content in 7-second intervals. You know what I mean? Like, that trained the human mind to only want to be there for a short period. So social media, I mean, not to say that it wasn't already going downhill, but social media drug it down the hill. You know what I mean? So attention span is definitely gone. You know, we put out these albums every week. And honestly, the hype from them is dead before the week is over. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why consistency is so important now, because you will be forgotten very fast. You know what I mean? There's only the upper echelon that gets to take these significant breaks. You know what I mean? But other than that, like these like a Lil Baby. I promise you, the Lil Baby can't go 12 months without dropping an album. It can't happen, because he will be forgotten. But an upper echelon like a Drake maybe can do 12 months. Even Childish Gambino just tried to sneak back in, and it didn't work out for him. You know what I mean? So you gotta be very careful with your consistency right now, because they will forget fast. I mean, what the truth is, the internet has a 3-day life cycle, and so every 3 days, whatever you put out 72 hours ago is forgotten about. Whatever happened 72 hours ago is forgotten about. So you always have to be aware of that when you're a content creator and when you're an entertainer trying to build something. You never want to go 3 days without giving some sort of content. TikTok, the largest TikTokers put out 9 to 10 pieces of content a day. Like, do you know how demanding that has to be to put out 9 to 10 pieces of content a day? Like, that is ridiculous, but that's what it has come to. And honestly, it's making them tons of money, because they're getting paid $300 to $500 for every piece of content they put out. You know what I mean? So that's how they make their money. But attention span is really, man, it's gone, and you know, it's sad, but this is the world we live in, and if we want to be successful in it as a music industry, then we have to constantly supply this content. And that's just the reality that we're living in right now. That's why I always tell people, you know, the best way to go is a label. You know, you don't want to be attached to just one artist as a manager. You want to be the label and be able to be attached to 10 artists, because that means you're flowing content constantly versus, you know, one manager.
So would you say it's more quantity over? Well, I don't know, quality is still important, but it's like quantity over quality.
Sadly, yeah, of course. I mean, quality matters because quality can give you an extension of life on your product, like how we saw Lil Durk last album stick on the top 10 of Apple for almost 90 days, I think. You know what I mean? Versus another similar artist, you know, gone within a week because Lil Durk's album quality was phenomenal. You know what I mean? So quality matters, but at the end of the day, you know, the market as a whole has become quality over quantity. I mean, did I say that wrong? Quantity over quality. So yeah, that's kind of the case. Sad.
So I just wanted to add to that, like like two things actually, like a living testament thing as far as when he said behind the scenes, just the process. I definitely agree with what you were saying, JR. Just because a lot of artists I'm into right now, one of the first things I do, and I think one of the first things we do as consumers is when we like an artist, we go to like their interviews. We see, you know what I mean, how they are in interviews. And if we like how they are in interviews, well, depending on how they are in interviews, that can determine whether or not, you know, we continue on as a fan. And me being like an artist producer, I know a lot of artists I follow are similar. So I'll just, you know, be watching their YouTube. And one artist I follow, John Bellion, when I first got on to him, I'm not sure if y'all know who he is. When I first got on to him, I saw his how-tos, and that was like the designer guy was saying, I saw him actually just produce the song out, produce the beat out, put his vocals on it, and then, you know, just build a song from idea, just from scratch. And that automatically made me a fan. So from now on, like whatever he drops, I'm gonna be a fan because I'm knowing like, yo, he made this by himself, and he was, you know what I mean? He was doing this stuff.
Yeah.
He called his friends in, just stuff like that. But I wanted to take it a step back from what I can't remember who was saying it. She asked about how to handle artists DMing her music and stuff like that. Would you advise artists to not do so, or just be like kind of so thirsty with it? Because I'm not gonna lie, you know, as an artist in the beginning, you want to just try to get your music out, just because history has shown that if you do things like that, it can happen, but it's not a guarantee. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm guilty of it. Like even with you, bro, I promise you, you go to your DM, you got about 7 of them from me. I swear. You feel me? But that's just like, and I'm not. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, he ain't listen, man. But I ain't even. It's not one of those. It's like, I'm gonna just shoot my shot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
So would you advise?
I always advise artists to shoot their shot. It's all about being considerate. You know what I mean? Just be as considerate as possible, but definitely always shoot your shot and always promote your music. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing at the end of the day, is you're promoting your music. And you're trying to grow your fan base. So I definitely always advise that.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I know sometimes I get in a little bag where it's like, you know, I'll do it. Then sometimes, you know, I'll second guess it, like, damn, bro, you tripping. Like, you really just did that. You feel me? So
that's definitely, you know, a must. Shooting your shot is a must. That's how you grow. You know, how am I gonna get somebody to listen to it if it's not in front of their face? You know what I mean? I gotta put it there. You know what I mean? But, again, it's just being considerate. Like, I would never spam anybody, but if I'm dropping a new album, of course I'm gonna shoot it to somebody. You know what I mean? Check this out. You know what I mean? But I'm not like in a DM every day or anything like that.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Can you mind if I chime in?
Please do, Jack. Please.
One thing, because I've been editor-in-chief of a blog, blogswithattitude.com, so I used to receive music all the time. The approach is key. Approach is key. Sometimes somebody would send me just a link, not saying nothing like that.
I hate when people do that to me.
Yeah, just a link that don't. It's a good afternoon. Can you if you have a moment, could you take your time out to listen to my track? Like, approach is key. Sometimes I listen to people's stuff randomly. It's by the approach. The approach is so like JR, consider it. I'll take a listen. But some people be on some Devo, like, you listen to this. Why are you crazy? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they do things like that. Of course, I wouldn't do anything like that, but I could understand because I feel like what they're thinking is like, oh, okay, they might just be moving fast. So if they see the link, they might just, you feel me, like click real fast. But I do, you know, I was raised up to, you know, have manners. And when I speak to somebody for the first time, hey, how you doing? Such and such. Then you go into it. So I mean, you gotta take that into every situation. So I definitely understand from that aspect.
No doubt, man. Okay, I mean, if anybody else have any questions, I'm gonna wrap up, but I'll definitely take a last question if y'all have any.
The person in chat had something. They wrote something.
Yeah. Let me read that real quick. Oh no, they were just making a point. A good point though.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I mean, thank everybody for joining. I hope that answers as many questions as possible. I'm gonna start putting out content. I have a piece of content that I want to put out next week. I hope you guys tune in. It's an interview with me and artist I manage, Jacob Lattimore. So I'm gonna try to get that out next week. And return with another Q&A soon as well. But thank you guys for joining me.